All right, this week we are starting quadrant 4 of our book, and we're going to finish our book this week. So we are on chapter 13, Captain Fudge. "Look at my Mitzi," Fudge said early Sunday morning. The two of us were on the porch, waiting for Grandma to call us in to breakfast. She was making pancakes as a special treat. "Doesn't it look good?" He handed his baseball glove to me. "Feel how soft it is." "What'd you do?" I asked. There were dark splotches all over it. "Oiled it, like the man said in the store." "What did you use?" "Guess." I sniffed his glove. There was a familiar smell to it. "I'll give you a hint," he sang. "It's pink." "Pink oil?" "Yes," he said. "You give up?" "Yeah, I definitely give up. Oil of Olay." He gave me one of his satisfied smiles. "You used oil of Olay on your mitt?" He nodded proudly. "Oil of Olay is for your skin, turkey brain. Mom uses it on her face." "I'm not a turkey brain, you're the turkey brain. And you're just jealous because your mitten is not as soft as mine." "Yeah, right. And I'm jealous that my mitt doesn't smell like that pink stuff too." "I like the smell." "I'm glad, because you're going to be smelling it for a long time." "What'd you do? Use up the whole bottle?" "The man in the store said to oil it every night, remember?" "He said a few drops, and he was talking about Neat's foot oil." "What's Neat's foot oil?" "It's what you're supposed to use on a baseball glove." I watched the expression on his face change as he got the message. "Never oil of Olay?" he asked in a small voice. I shook my head. Now he was about 2 seconds away from tears. Why didn't I just tell him his glove looks great? Why did I have to make such a big thing about it? So I said, "Look, it's not like you did anything wrong. You were just being, I paused, trying to find the right word. "Creative?" he asked. "Yeah, creative." I handed him his glove and went to see what Jimmy was doing. He was still in bed, sound asleep. "Hey, Jimmy, wake up." He rolled over and buried his head under the pillow. "I'm not getting up today," he mumbled, curling himself into a ball. I pulled the covers off him. "The ball game starts at 10 a.m. "What ball game?" "You know what ball game." "Oh, that ball game." "I'll probably strike out every time I'm up." "So what?" I said. "It's not every day you get to play with Big Apfel." "I never even heard of this guy until you started in on him." "Too bad," I said, "because he's headed for the Hall of Fame." "Says who?" Jimmy asked. "Says me." There were more people at the high school field than I had ever seen at Southwest Harbor, and more dogs than I had ever seen anywhere except in Central Park on a sunny day. When Sheila saw all those dogs, she screamed and ran back to her father's car. "I'll wait here," she said, slamming the door. "It's going to be a long wait," Mr. Tubman told her. "I don't mind," Sheila said. "I brought a book, just in case." "I thought you're not afraid of dogs anymore," I said. "I'm not, once I know them, but strange dogs can give you diseases." "Not if you don't kiss them," I said. "Ha ha. If you change your mind," Mr. Tubman began. "I'll never change my mind," Sheila told him. Mr. Tubman shook his head, but he didn't force Sheila out of the car. Jimmy and I headed for the field. I stopped in my tracks when I saw this great-looking girl in a red striped t-shirt, stretching out near third base. It was Isabel. "That's her," I told Jimmy. He gave me a blank look. "Isabel from the library," I said. "Really?" Jimmy said. "That's Izzy?" "Yeah." "She's incredibly ugly." "What, are you crazy?" I said. "She's beautiful." Jimmy slapped his thigh and laughed. "I got you that time," he said. "Very funny," I told him. There were other familiar faces, too. The woman who owns Oz Books was there. I call her Dorothy of Oz, even though that's not her real name. And the butcher from Sawyer's Market, Bicycle Bob, was there too. He said, "So, how's the newest member of the ISAF club?" "Great," I told him. "Keeping your mouth shut?" he asked. "I'm trying. That's the way." He cuffed me on the shoulder. Suddenly, a low murmur ran through the crowd. Everyone looked toward home plate, and there he was, dressed in full Red Sox uniform, Big Apple, in the flesh. I recognized him right away. First, by his height, 6 feet 6 inches without spikes. And second, because he still looks a lot like the picture on his baseball card, except he's gained a few pounds, and now his hair is gray. Everyone gathered around him. You could feel the excitement. Mitzi and Fudge were right in the middle of it, each with an arm around one of Big's legs. I tried to work my way closer, but I got shoved aside by the guy from the hardware store. My heart was pounding. "Please let me be on his team," I prayed. "I'll never ask for another thing if I can just play on his team." Then Big spoke, and his voice boomed. "As most of you already know, these old knees aren't what they used to be. I can't take the field or run the bases anymore." He looked right at me and nodded, as if he knew me, "but I can still knock one out of here every now and then." I cheered with the crowd. "So to be fair," Big continued, "I bat for both sides." Everybody cheered again, everybody except me. "What?" I said. "How can he bat for both sides? That's impossible. That's against the official rules." "When in Rome," some woman who was standing next to me said. I glared at her. She glared back and repeated the whole phrase, as if I hadn't gotten it the first time. "When in Rome, do as the Romans do." "I've got news for you," I told her, feeling my face turn hot. "We're not in Rome." "And I've got news for you, Junior," she said. "Rudeness will not be tolerated in this game." "Who's being rude?" I asked. "Cut it out, Peter," Jimmy whispered, grabbing my arm. I shook him off. "Calm down, will you?" he said. "It's just a game." "I suppose you think it's fair for him to bat for both sides." "Yeah, I do." I looked away. My throat felt tight. Big grabbed a fistful of straws, and everyone who wanted to be captain drew one, including Jimmy and me. "Look," Fudge said, holding up a short straw. "I'm captain." Isabel held up the other short straw. "I'm captain, too." I can't believe this," I said. "Maybe she'll pick you for her team," Jimmy said. "Yeah, sure." I wasn't about to admit I was hoping the same thing. "Hey, Izzy," Fudge called. "I'm writing that book. I'm already on chapter 4. "Fantastic," Isabel called back. "Let's go." Some guy with a serpent tattoo shouted, "Choose up sides. This is a ball game, not a social hour." Captain Fudge, with his oil of Olay mitt, got to choose first. So who did he pick? The biggest, strongest-looking player? No, that would have made way too much sense. He chose Mitzi. Then it was Isabel's turn. If I were the amazing Kruskin, I'd be able to make her choose me. I concentrated on my name, trying to get the message through to her. Peter Warren Hatcher. Peter Warren Hatcher. Isabel looked at me and smiled. Yes, I thought. It's going to work. I closed my eyes. When I did, Isabel chose Tony Ickle. Then Fudge picked me. Goodbye, Isabel. I tried to get him to choose Jimmy next, so at least I'd have a friend on my team. But did he listen? No. And Jimmy wound up on Isabel's team. Nothing was working out the way I planned. Absolutely nothing.